Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the Soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello there, and welcome to all my listeners. Today, there is a special episode. Well, perhaps every time is a special episode. I say that every single time. But indeed, it's special because we're going to talk about the 9 expressions of spirituality. In other words, how each and every number understands and approaches spirituality. But before I say anything further, I want to welcome you. If you're new here, then welcome. In my podcast, I discuss in-depth numerology as a path for inner transformation, spiritual growth, expansion of consciousness, and self-understanding. My personal take is trying to make numerology accessible, applicable, and grounded, so you can use it for everyday life matters, and I do my best to provide you with the information that you can eventually use to apply numerology in order to live a better, a more conscious, a more balanced life that is also aligned with your actual true purpose. Now, here are a few ways you can dive deeper into numerology should you wish to do so beyond this podcast. First and foremost, you can book a numerology reading with me. In a numerology reading, you can ask any question that is burning in your life and get precise answers tailored especially to you. You can read more about the types of readings that I offer and contact me through the link in the episode description. It'll lead you to my website, and from there you can book a reading with me. Now, if you wish to study numerology on a deeper level or even pursue it as a career, then I invite you to check out my 2 numerology study paths. First of all, check out my self-study numerology courses. They will give you the rare opportunity to learn numerology online at your own pace on your laptop, your tablet, or mobile device. My library currently includes 2 self-study courses that are pretty comprehensive, and more are coming up. Now, if you want to be initiated into the rare depths of numerology, you can sign up to my complete path of certification, where you study directly with me, all the way from a total beginner to a numerology expert. And you get certified as a professional numerologist along the way. Now, to read more about both study paths, check out the links in the episode description. My friends, I'm very excited to share today's episode, but I also want to apologize. I'm not at my usual recording location. I have a lot of family around and kids running around, so if there's a little bit of background noise, forgive me. Having said that, I'm very uncompromising when it comes to in-depth and high-quality numerology. And for this reason, I really object to the wrong notion, sometimes communicated by numerologists, that the numbers are an indication of what some would call a young or an old soul, or a spiritual and non-spiritual soul. In my experience, this is simply untrue. I've come to see over the years that a person with any set of core numbers can be a very advanced or very young soul, and also anything in between. And I've also come to see that every number can be profoundly spiritual. No number is excluded from divine awareness. Now, in order to prove my point, I will impart to you in this episode the knowledge of the 9 numbers and their unique approach to spirituality. By doing so, I hope to empower each and every one of you to take your core numbers to their utmost heights and depth of spiritual awareness. Now, at the end of the day, growing in spiritual awareness is the most important thing in life and the highest purpose of any human being. So let's start our journey through the numbers and their unique expression of spirituality. And listen carefully, because I'm talking about you. And especially, check out the numbers that appear in your upper triad or sacred triad, right? The life path, the expression number, or the soul urge. These will determine the type of spirituality that you embody. And of course, I would love to hear in the comments what your numbers are after you heard them and what your experience is. So, we are starting with number 1. Number 1's approach to spirituality is very direct, freedom-based, and individualistic. They see truth, God, or the spiritual path as a possibility to complete and total emancipation from all limitations. They adhere to their inner calling and voice, and even while receiving help and guidance, they are eventually their own guides and are very clear about that. The one is all about unity, about being fully crystallized and integrated. It's about discovering the aloneness at the root of everything. Aloneness, by the way, if you haven't noticed, is also all oneness. Aloneness, all oneness, same thing. They know that at the root, they are divine itself and so aren't interested in surrendering to a guru. They are the divine itself. From their point of view, it is always I who should be the leader on and off my path. I am my own light. And what I eventually discover as freedom and as the divine is none other than my own self. They believe in focused intention and harnessing of the will in order to go all in and pierce through illusion. Their path is about realizing self-authority and autonomy, and realize that it is always the one who is the author. And that's what gives them authority. Next, we have number 2. Number 2's approach to spirituality is very different. It is all about surrender and openness to a higher reality, to fill them with grace, insight, and energetic fullness. The 2 never pushes, but rather listens deeply to the subtlest currents and messages of the divine and of their intuition, and allows the journey to unfold without pushing. Number 2 is like the ultimate receptacle for the divine, an open door that can welcome something bigger than itself to fill it, guide it, and hold it. Through deep, quiet meditation and a loving relationship with spiritual friends and with the divine itself, they slowly but surely grow in divine realization and become established in deep spirituality. There's a humbleness to their approach to spirituality, and they have no problem loving a reality greater than themselves. Even after realizing oneness, they are meditative, compassionate beings and are gentle yet deep. A little bit like Buddhism, or the Buddhist energy. So this sort of gentle path of Buddhism with its compassion and kindness can really speak to them. But at the same time, also more intuitive paths can work, even ones that include shamanic and esoteric elements. After all, 2 is deep with intuition and profound receptivity. Next, we have number 3. Number 3's approach to spirituality is rooted in simplicity. It is the simple acknowledgement that we all want happiness and peace, and that we deserve to have them. It is not about chasing lofty goals, but rather stripping off the spiritual path of any kind of grandiose statements and bringing it back to its simplest truth. We all want to be happy, at peace, and at home. It's as simple as that. The 3 has a natural ability to rest in simplicity and the innocent, childlike essence that is at the root of our being. They have a unique ability to let go of unnecessary mental and emotional complication and focus on simple exercise and insight that brings one's attention back to simple presence. What might look too simple for some is exactly what the 3 proves to be profound and able to uplift many to a wonderful sense of well-being. With simple codes of practice, behavior, and insight, they are able to embody and demonstrate deep wholeness and make it available to many others. On we go to number 4. Number 4's approach to spirituality has to do with ritual and tradition. These are the people who stick to something for the long run and develop a stability and a ground of being that is deeply unshakable. Their spirituality is often tied to high moral and ethical codes, as it naturally ties the highest teachings to the most grounded actions of human life. Number 4 knows the eternal truths do not change. They have been the same 10,000 years ago, and they will be the same 10,000 years from now. They have a very level-minded and grounded approach to spiritual wisdom, and don't get very excited by all the attempts to reinvent spirituality by various luminaries. They rely on what has always worked for thousands of years and simply stick to it. Over time, they develop a beautiful inner stability, a quietude, and a very sober and balanced approach to spiritual wisdom, both in themselves and in the way they pass it on to others. It's always step by step. It's repetitive but reliable. The spirituality of number 4 is grounded, pragmatic, and applicable. They can include mystical elements and rituals like prayer and chanting, but these will often be rooted in well-established rituals coming from age-old traditions. So, do you find yourself in one of the numbers I described so far? I would really love to hear from you, so definitely let me know in the comments. I'd like to know how spirituality plays out for you. And next, we have number 5. But before I keep talking any further, if you are enjoying this podcast and you want to keep learning more in-depth and grounded numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell on the platform you're listening from. Give it a like and become part of my numerology community. Make sure to follow me on Substack, where I write in depth content about numerology and Dharma. The link is in the podcast episode description. And of course, as I said, just make sure to comment, my friends. It's amazing to have a conversation with you. Having said that, let's move on to number 5. Number 5's approach to spirituality is mostly about the aspiration to freedom. It can also be mixed with a deep calling to merge with life in a more sensual tantric way through the body. The sensual dimension can often become a gateway to divine realization with number 5. Sexuality can become a way to encounter the divine. Even art and music can be a path. And certainly merging with the vast and wild expanses of nature. But in all of those, the principle of freedom is the guiding light. The 5s love spontaneity and have a natural connection to the life force. There's a celebratory element to their spirituality. That they can dance their way to God, sing their way to self-realization, and generally speaking, their path is very experimental and experiential, allowing for much space for exploration. They are advocates of freedom of the soul, and approaching this whole life is one big wild game. Part of the game is not adhering to, in a religious manner, to any particular teaching, but rather allowing the spontaneous revelation of moment-to-moment wisdom to guide their path. They are like divine dancers, if you will. On we go to number 6. Number 6's approach to spirituality is devotional in nature. They love to love and love to serve. They are very other-oriented and can easily devote themselves to a guru in a teaching with all their heart. Service and bhakti is a big part of their path. Through service and self-sacrifice, they learn the meaning of being a nobody. And in that nobodiness, they become increasingly filled with the presence of the divine. One of the great superpowers of number 6 in the spiritual context is knowing how to give themselves up for something greater than themselves. They are deeply receptive and know how to let higher wisdom, guidance, and love into their being by simply staying open, staying willing and vulnerable. Their sense of self-importance is naturally low, and so pride and arrogance is far less of an issue for them. Another major quality of number 6 is dedication. It's not uncommon to find them in monasteries, in positions of great service to their fellow monks and nuns and to their community. They are true messengers of love and caretaking and are meant to bridge divine love to the very personal human dimension between friends, family, and community. Next, we have number 7. Number 7's approach to spirituality is all about reaching the most fundamental, most naked truth possible, stripped off of all illusions. The 7s are deep inquirers and asking deep and challenging questions about the nature of existence. All of that is really part of their nature. They are meant to penetrate and touch the deepest mysteries of life, death, and the beyond by means of contemplation, meditation, and inquiry. Self-investigation is a key method on their path, and they often develop a very high level of self awareness. The sevens are meant to break outside the known boundaries of the mind and both explore and reveal what lies beyond. Who are we? When we go beyond all notions, all ideas, all memories, all conditioning, who are we then? What are we when we go beyond body, emotions, thoughts, energies, perhaps even light? Number seven is meant to discover the divine by questioning everything and uncovering a knowing far deeper than the one we are accustomed to. This no this knowing looked at from a different angle is in fact unknowing. The more they unknow, the more life reveals itself in its own mysterious ways. And so the seven is eventually about embodying deep wisdom that strikes the fine line between not knowing and deep knowing. We have two numbers left, so let's get them covered as well. So the next in line is number 8. Number eight's approach to spirituality has to do with overcoming obstacles, never giving up, and transforming limitations into power, potential, and higher states of consciousness. The 8 simply can't accept limitation, and they are in search for spiritual dignity. It's not uncommon for people with an 8 to be attracted to spiritual powers as well. They love control, and their path may often be characterized by strict practice routines, strict practice regimens, mind control techniques, and eventually the ability to access higher states of consciousness at will. They often feel things with intensity, which means that their meditations can be very profound and powerful. When it comes to shadow, they prefer to meet it head on, confront their fears directly, and come out on the other side transformed. It's truly a bit like a force of transformation when you think about the 8. It is electric and transformational. They like powerful explosions, quote unquote, so to speak. And indeed, they often step with totality into their path and, again, quote unquote, explode many times into deep transformation, like death and rebirth, death and rebirth. If they do it right, the 8 can actually embody both deep spiritual awareness and also spiritual powers that can deeply support and empower others on the path. And last but definitely not least, we move to number 9. Number nine's approach to spirituality is about perspective, all embracing wisdom, and becoming like a radiant, unconditional, giving sun of love and grace. The 9 has a deep trust in the divine etched into their very structure, and very often are inclined naturally to prayer, conversations with the divine, and selfless service to all without discrimination. They are meant to become universal givers, which is none other than a direct expression of the divine love and wisdom. Like a sun that simply doesn't differentiate, but simply gives no matter what. A sun that bestows the light and warmth of wisdom, love, and support at all times and places. They are a bit like the wise old one, full of optimism and trust, and passing it on with their wonderful charisma to everyone around them. In their quest for wisdom, they learn how to let go of everything that is not of essence and become truly emptied of all that isn't true. Some of them even become monks and nuns, renunciating everything, knowing that when stripped off of everything, they are the richest and most radiant beings on the planet. Indeed, the nine is meant to become a radiance of good for the benefit of all. That's a direct embodiment of the divine. And now, my dear friends, that all nine numbers have been covered, make sure to leave a comment and let me know, what are your main core numbers? Remember, the most important ones are the sacred triad, the life path, the expression number, and your soul urge, in that particular order. As together, they will constitute your particular approach, your unique approach to spirituality. So, share with me your experience and approach to the spiritual life. I'd love to hear from you and have an open conversation about it. Now, if you follow this episode carefully, you hopefully notice that no number is a proof of being a young or old soul, as I said in the very beginning. All numbers can embody the deepest spirituality. They have different flavors, but that's the beauty and contribution of each number to the whole, just like an incredibly beautiful rainbow. When you meet spiritual figures of each number, you will recognize the special gift that they are. None is necessarily more divine than another. All the numbers are like divine rays that can function in deep, um, sort of like on the one end, on the deep shadow, right, on the one end of the scale, all the way to profound wisdom and divine realization on the other end of the scale. And that is true for each and every number. This episode is meant to give us all the hope and confidence that we have everything in us to live a sincere spiritual life. And to know that we have a gift to give to the entire world. Every number included, no number excluded. And so before I wrap this up, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, subscribe, click the notifications bell, give it a like, and become part of my numerology community. Remember to also follow me on Substack, where I write about Dharma and numerology. The link is in the podcast episode description. Of course, make sure to comment. I would love to hear from you. Remember to check out my numerology readings if you want to experience numerology on a deeper level. And of course, if you want to take it deeper in your own personal life, then check out my self-study numerology courses and in-depth numerology certification studies if you want to acquire real mastery. My friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode as always. And I will see you in the next ones. Take care. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.